Hey guys, Michael J. Crawford, the Anti-Trekker here, and welcome to Part 2 of Part 1 of Journey Through Star Trek The Next Generation, Encounter at Farpoint, Part 2. So, I gotta clear the air on a couple of things. This episode's gonna be slightly more serious than my normal fare because I want to make sure that I make this clear. Number one, yes, Star Trek The Next Generation has an incredible elevation of political correctness in comparison to the original series. In some ways, that may be considered good because the show tries to be more inclusive, but in other ways, it's kind of bad. And I'm going to give you an example.
To boldly go where no one has gone before.
Look, I know that some people rolled their eyes when they first heard Picard say where no one has gone before as opposed to where no man has gone before. And other people were celebrating, thinking that, haha, it's about time we stuck it to the patriarchy. The problem is that when Kirk said where no man had gone before, he was clearly not referring to males, he was referring to humanity, mankind, if you will. And the problem with changing it to where no one has gone before is that it actually makes the statement blatantly inaccurate. Because yes, it's true that you may go to a place where man has never been, where there's been no human beings. However, everywhere they go in Star Trek, they run into living sentient beings. So to say where no one has gone before is an out-and-out lie because there are people already there. They're just not humans. Now, if you really want to try to be inclusive, and you think that saying where no man has gone before has somehow sexist, you could say where no human has gone before. But the problem is that doesn't sound very good. So how about you just leave it to the correct verbiage where no man has gone before? Okay, so at this point, it seems that we are genuinely trying to change the verbiage of an iconic statement so that we can appease people who are simply ignorant of the meaning of the words where no man has gone before. We are actually trying to dumb down Star Trek to appease the lowest common denominator just to make sure we don't hurt their feelings. That is why, despite the fact that I know some of you may object to this, I am going to count how many times in Star Trek The Next Generation they just blatantly are trying to be politically correct. Okay, off the soapbox I go. Now, let's look at how awesome the political correctness of Star Trek The Next Generation is. So let me just say this, with the guys in the skirts, hey, if you really want to make a statement, put one of your main characters in a skirt, like Riker or Picard. Don't put some background extra in a skirt and think you're being progressive for that. And as far as Yar is concerned, look, I have no problem with a female that can kick some ass, but get somebody that looks like they can kick some ass. Don't take a scrawny little 110-pound woman and have her throw a guy around that's like twice her weight. It doesn't look good. It looks silly because you can tell in the shot that the guy is literally just standing there waiting for her to kick him. But yeah.
Allowed things like this court, and it was people like these that saved me from it. This so-called court should get down on its knees to what Starfleet is.
Okay, there are shows that have a message. There are shows that get a little preachy. There are religious shows. And then there's Star Trek The Next Generation, which takes the preachy television series to an entirely new level with the gospel according to the Federation. This is just grating to me how many times in this show they have to tell us how wonderful everything is in the Federation. And honestly, it's just a bit much. So yeah, a lot of you are probably wondering, gee, Anti-Trekker, it seems like you really hate Star Trek The Next Generation. Why are you even talking about it? Why not just not watch it? Well, you would be completely wrong about that. I happen to love Star Trek The Next Generation, but obviously these are some of the things I don't particularly love about it, which is something we see a lot of in the first season, unfortunately. But you know what we do see in this very episode? The very reason why Star Trek The Next Generation is freaking awesome.
What do we do now, Captain? With them monitoring our every move and every word.
We do exactly what we'd do if this queue never existed. We're going to be damned. Let's be damned for what we really are.
3 simple words. Picard is awesome. Look, if you've ever joined me on my live streams, you've probably heard me say over and over that I do not care about the personal politics of the actors, producers, directors, etc. of various entertainment franchises. And that is true. I don't care what Patrick Stewart's personal politics are. Patrick Stewart is as Batwoman crazy as just about everyone else in Hollywood. That being said, he is an incredible presence on screen, and as Jean-Luc Picard, he is incredible. Yes, he's a Frenchman with an English accent, but yes, he absolutely pulls it off. Where Captain Kirk was a man of action, Picard is a man of intellect. Both of them great leaders, but in very different ways. At this point, at that simple line, I realized that while this episode leaves a lot to be desired, there are seeds of greatness in Star Trek The Next Generation. There is something special about having Patrick Stewart in the captain's chair. And the rest of the crew will grow around him as time goes on. But this is the moment that sold me that Star Trek The Next Generation was going to be great. And great it truly was. Just not yet. Not by a long shot.
On. Lieutenant! Do you intend to blast a hole in the viewer?
Now, if you're at all like me, you're probably wondering where the heck did Worf get that phaser from? After all, this is Star Trek The Next Generation, the more enlightened, evolved, kinder, gentler humanity that we see. So why is bridge crew members walking around with phasers? And by the way, in case you happen to think this is an isolated incident, earlier in this same episode, Torres, who was also at the helm, by the way, had a phaser. So what's going on? Well, if you look carefully, you can actually see Torres pulls the phaser out from a hidden compartment underneath the console that they use as the helmsman. So yes, the enlightened, kind, gentle, peace-loving Federation of the 24th century keeps hand weapons hidden inside the consoles just in case you need to shoot somebody on the bridge. Where in the original series, unless there was a security guard on the bridge, there were no weapons on the bridge. Is it just me, or is everybody on this show just horny all the time? What's the deal with that? The writers have some kind of weird sex obsession or something?
I too could never say goodbye, Imzadi.
Anyway, it's not like it's the main plot or anything, but...
Captured its mate.
A feeling of great joy.